Joining me is the panel, Michael Kroger, former Victorian Liberal President, and Steve Conroy, former Labor Senator and Cabinet Minister. How did you see this election result?
Well, I thought it'd be between 3 and 4%, so a slight win to Peter Dutton in that regard. No one ever thought we'd win the seat, let's be frank about that, so it's a pretty good result. As you say, bad for the Greens. They didn't turn up in a lot of polling booths, probably because they would have been abused by people. Elements of the Greens, Andrew, have become the ugly face of racism and anti-Jewish hatred in this country, and their despicable performance in recent weeks against Jews in this country, I've never seen anything like it. And respectable, ordinary middle-class voters, the working middle class, look at this Jewish hatred by the Greens and are just disgusted and appalled, which is why I think, by the way, Brisbane and Ryan, 2 seats which the Greens won at the election in 2022 in Queensland, will probably come back to the coalition. Working class people are disgusted by this type of behaviour. So,
well, I'm going to take that as one very good thing for Australia.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
But yes, Steve, how did you see this result? Michael sounds like it was just, well, disappointingly about what he'd expected, but not a real win. Where did you see it?
Yeah. Look, can I firstly just absolutely endorse what, Michael, you've been saying about the Greens and their position? I mean, if the Greens political party want to align themselves with the murderers, rapists, thugs at Hamas, then they get what they deserve, and they got some of it. Let's hope that becomes an absolute across-the-country reaction to their disgusting positioning on these issues. Secondly, I think, look, Michael's got the lipstick out tonight. He's got it on the peg. He's trying to pretend Peter Dutton had a good result. I mean, if Peter Dutton, who's identified that the path to victory for them is through these outer suburban seats, 12, 13 interest rate increases, refugees turn up on our coastline, law and order issues in Frankston, Advance putting $300,000 into a campaign, highlighting and claiming that there could be a rapist or a pedophile or a murderer released by Labor into the Dunkley and Frankston community. If you can't get better than a 3.5% swing, and let's stop pretending it's 4, it's just on 3.5, that is a very poor performance and shows there is no pathway in the way that Peter Dutton has claimed. So I'd be. You could see Susan Ley before the results were known. She was pretty happy. You could see in her eyes on Saturday night after the re-election, she knew what had happened.
Steve, 11 months ago, you won the Aston by-election. There was a 6.5% swing to you in a not dissimilar seat, Melbourne outer suburbs. 11 months later, you've lost 10%. So you've got to look at it in that context. This electorate in Victoria is moving away from the Labor Party, and that is a massive number, 10% in 11 months. So you've got problems. Accurate. You've got problems.
Our primary vote, actually improved. Our primary vote actually improved.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about the primary vote. I was talking about the 2PP. So your vote went up because the Greens vote collapsed. Our vote went up because the One Nation and Palmer didn't run. Okay, we all know that.
And you didn't even capture the whole 8%. On
well, you didn't capture all the Green votes, Stephen, either.
You didn't get all of the. Well, we weren't expecting to.
Yeah, but you got a lot of the. You were. I mean, your candidate did better than the late member. So it's not because this candidate was considered better than the late member. It was because the Greens vote collapsed because people in that electorate were rightly revolted by Bant and co. And those votes went to you in the main.
Can I ask about the Greens? Because I share your absolute disgust for the Greens, for their trawling for the anti-Semitic vote, for the dissension they've introduced into the community. They're a danger. They're frankly a menace. And that's leaving aside all their kooky promises, economics, global warming. Leaving all this is really poisonous. How can you or Labor be exchanging preferences with the Greens after this?
Well, look, we've got an equally abhorrent Pauline Hampson's views on racism and Indigenous issues, well known. And the Liberal Party
leave her aside. Let's stick with the Greens.
No, you can't leave her aside.
Let's leave her aside. Okay. Stick with the Greens. Yes, I can. Why would you exchange preferences with the Greens when you agree with me they are toxic to our community?
Well, I think that's something that Labor's got to have a look at. I think it should consider whether or not it's going to actually preference to the Greens. I think when they're running on such a racist platform that they are, the anti-Semitic platform that they are, it becomes much harder for Labor to preference the Greens in that circumstance. As you say, they are trawling. Yeah, they are trying to compete with Donald Trump for, the KKK anti-Semitic vote in Australia. So they have a lot to answer for. And I think that Labor should have a good hard look at that issue.
Big concession from. I don't think it should be. Well, I don't think it should be difficult for Labor.
Shouldn't be
to preference. It should be impossible for Labor to preference such a toxic party.
Yeah, but Steve, and the people in the Labor Party associated with you, the sensible people on the centre right of the Labor Party. I know you'd want to put the Greens last or down there with One Nation. I'll tell you what, the Liberal Party, I can tell you this for a fact, the Liberal Party will preference you, Stephen, in every one of the 151 seats in the next election ahead of the Greens. They will become behind you, even though you're our main enemy. We'll put them behind you in every single seat. These people are disgusting, right? They are racists. Their anti-Jewish hatred is, when you talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of what some of these Greens have said, these people are. They're
through the bottom of the barrel
disgusting.
And into the sewer.
They're in the sewer.
But one sour note from the election for the Liberals, I have to say. I found this hard to believe. You had a federal Liberal MP, Zoe McKenzie. She's from the seat next door. She's my local member. I thought she was all right. She actually posed with the Labor winner at the by-election posted, "Congratulations, Jodie Billier. You've been a good friend to women across the Mornington Peninsula," where they both are. "I look forward to working with you and looking after Paradise." Listen, in 1 year's time, there will be a general election and a Liberal candidate will be standing against this woman that's just got a Liberal Party endorsement.
So, Andrew, that photograph was taken in September 2022.
I posted it again.
Right. Sorry, it was taken more than a year ago. And Zoe McKenzie and the late Labor member, down the peninsula, the Liberal and Labor in Dunkley and Flinders have to work together, right? They work together on mental health issues. The former Labor member and McKenzie, they worked on rail upgrade. Et cetera. The Liberal and Labor members in those two electorates always work together. And so McKenzie was on a number of committees.
Why doesn't McKenzie just write her pre-election bump for her?
Well, she was just being...
Your poor local Liberal
She worked with the new Labor member locally on issues, and too much is being read into this. Too much is being read into it.
And Michael, the immediate reaction...
Andrew, I think you...
Yeah?
I think you're being too harsh. I think Michael's taking a very fair-minded view about this situation. They've worked together.
Really, please.
They know each other.
Serious.
And
I don't think the local.
You're allowed, like Michael and I are allowed to be friends.
Got to go.
Michael and I are allowed to be friends and play golf together.
You weren't friends when you were in politics. You weren't friends when you were in Parliament, mate. Different game.
Actually, we were. I played golf with Michael for over 30 years. And beaten him most times.
You weren't friends.
Importantly.
Guys, thank you very much.